Make sure that everything's running correctly here. It still says upcoming. So as soon as we go live on there, then I will start the intro. Still says upcoming.
I know it takes like 20 to 30 seconds before
it's already showing up.
Yep, now it's showing. I refresh the page now. I'm getting the...
Yep. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the intro started. Here we go, guys.
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys. What are you talking about?
Hey, everyone. Welcome into the Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. This is episode 161. I'm your host, XPAD, along with my co-hosts, Burley of Burleman Gaming, Turn-Based Carl, Fubu87. And we have a guest this week, and he's one of our community members over on Discord, G. So welcome on in to the show. So it's good to have you with us. So how are you guys all doing? Burley, how was your week? Did you get your cable line all fixed up and your internet's running again?
Yeah, I on Friday got a new line run because when you threaten your ISP to start showing them all the messages you have sent from them to the local news organization, cable news channel right near you, then magically, and you post on social media how bad they are, magically people want to start doing their jobs. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So it's been a crazy week.
Played hard.
Yeah.
Effective method.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm proud of him.
Carl, how you doing, man? Sorry to hear about Buffalo, man. About those Bills. Another wide right.
Heartbreaking, man.
Yeah.
You know, snow's melting, so that's nice. Things are
That's cool. That's
clearing up around here. Hopefully we don't get dumped on again, but
I'm ready for winter to be over myself.
Yeah.
What's winter?
Yeah, I was gonna say Fubu. He doesn't understand what winter means over there in Madeira. So yeah, it's sunny every day and probably about like 80
Yeah.
degrees.
Oh,
Yeah.
lucky
I just
you.
sent pictures, man. On Discord, I sent a picture like last week. It was just summer day.
Yeah.
I like those guys must be jealous.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
jealous. I'm cold already.
yeah. Well, speaking of weather for tomorrow, of course, I'm a big 49er fan. I'm originally from San Francisco, so the 49ers are playing tomorrow, and it's supposed to be clear skies. So no excuses
Ooh.
for wet weather and holding a wet football. So
Nice.
yeah, looking forward to that, man. So we'll see. So yeah, so we got a great show for you. We're going to be talking about Dragon's Dogma too, which I'm going to tell you guys right now. I'm pulling back on my predictions again. I didn't have any predictions. I said at the beginning of the year, but I'm going to say it right now. Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to be Baldur's Gate 3 of 2024. So there you go. I'll just throw it out there right now. It's going to be the game of the year, probably.
I have doubts.
Yeah,
Home stars.
we shall see. But yeah, so
But man, I mean, it could make sense. It's been a banger of a year so far with some of these games, right? With the Prince of Persia, Tekken, and like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, like incredible games so far.
Yeah.
So
well, speaking of Tekken, speaking of Tekken, G has been playing that. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit. So we're also going to be talking about the Sony CEO and talking about PlayStation moving forward. And we'll also get into the Microsoft story of the layoffs over at Blizzard. So we'll talk about that. But our topic of the show, Palworld. So does Game Freak have a case against Palworld? We're going to be talking Palworld. We're going to be talking gameplay as well as the future ramifications for this game. So stay tuned for that. And then, of course, our picks of the week, as we normally do. So for you audio listeners, there's going to be a brief pause and then some information about where you can find the podcast in audio and video formats. So we're going to do that now. Just a brief pause, and then we're going to continue with the games that we've been playing this week. Okay, guys. All right. Let's talk about the games that we've been playing. So, Fubu, you start first. So what have you been playing?
I've always confused the game, but it's Secret of Mana. I know it's Secret of Mana. It's the HD remake that they released a few years ago, not that many, I think 4 years ago, of the beloved PS1 classic. And I never played the original. I remember playing with Tower of Mana, not Secret of Mana. And
Can I pause real quick? You mean the beloved Super Nintendo classic?
No. I remember the PlayStation. It was a disc, not a not a thing. It was a disc. I remember it was a disc. I don't know what you're talking about, man.
That's what I played. I don't know.
Anyway, I played this game, and I do understand that games have evolved, and sometimes not in a good way, because I got used to the modern games where you go here, you go there, there's something pointing, and you go that way. And I'm playing this game like, where the hell do I need to go? I need to read. I need to read, man. And I just spend like 1 hour exploring the map to know where I have to go. So that's an old school game. It doesn't point you where to go. You have to pay attention to what you are doing. And I am proud to say that my gamer instincts are very up to date, because I always go on the right way and I manage to do the quests and the dungeons. So great game. It's a little bit more relaxing comparing to the other games that I played, like Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man, Strangers of Paradise these past few weeks. It's a more relaxed game, and I'm having it all with a more simplistic game mode. With the simplistic gameplay. But I'm loving it. It's such a good game, and I do love the graphics, like this chibi animation, because they don't look like normal humans, tall. They're like smaller, more teenager, like I like these graphics, man. It reminds me of a better time.
Nice.
You guys played it probably, right?
I played it actually here on the image here at the end here from the old trailer here. I played it on the Vita. a long time ago.
Oh,
So yeah,
really?
Yeah.
I had no idea this game was on the Vita, to be honest.
yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah.
That'd
All
be a good
righty.
Vita game.
Yeah. All right. So G. So our community member. So let's talk about Tekken. So you played Tekken 7 and now you're playing Tekken 8. So
Yep.
tell us, what are the main differences and what do you like a lot about the new iteration of Tekken in Tekken 8?
So going into, I played Tekken 8 demo, decided I really liked it, so I reinstalled 7 to kind of get a feel for it, to get practice in, because I was more of a casual player before. And so I practiced for a couple weeks, kind of got the feel of it and everything. Then 8 comes out, and I'm starting to compare differences from it. I feel like 8 is kind of like a love letter to fans, almost kind of like, hey, we know 7 wasn't the greatest game. Like, it was fun, it was decent, but it wasn't the greatest thing. There were certain things that were missing, and the campaign wasn't exactly the most desirable element of the game. This game like improved in like everything, every which way you could imagine. The campaign's a lot more interesting, the story's a lot better. Gameplay, I feel like it's easier to get into this game as well for like new players if anybody's wanting to get into it, because they have a lot more methods of practicing. They have the whole have a ghost mode type feature where you can upload your data onto their servers and you can go against like your friend's player data based on what they're necessarily good at. It's not necessarily your friend all the time if you're playing against their ghost, but you can fight like their stats and kind of practice with them in a way in that sense. The story itself is, without spoiling, just so much more interesting compared to 7. 7's story mode was just kind of like, oh, you fight this person and then you fight a boss. You fight this person, then you fight a boss. It was very just short and just very unrewarding. I went through the whole campaign yesterday for the game for Tekken 8, and it was just so much better. They have like multiple like styles and missions. They have pretty much all the characters for this game's roster in there. Everybody kind of plays their own part. It's really honestly just a lot of fun. They have all the like previous games music and everything in there, so if you like Tekken 3 music or whatever, you can play that in there. There's just like pretty much every way that they could have improved on it. Honestly, they improved. Like, I almost wish that 7 would have been half as good as this game.
I see. Cool.
Definitely worth it. If anybody is interested in getting into Tekken, I definitely recommend 8 is a good way to like get back into the series if you're interested in it.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. It just is like this fighting game renaissance. Like all these big games coming out, all of them like seemingly like incredible entries, right? In these long running franchises. You know, better than the previous ones, pretty much for all of them, the big ones, right? That came out.
Yeah. The only thing about this one that I've seen some fans kind of complain about is there isn't an arcade mode in it right now, but they kind of make up for that with all the characters having their own endings, which is kind of, in my opinion, more interesting, because then you get to go through, play all the characters, see their own kind of story, how it would end if they did this. You get a lot of content out of it, even for it being just a fighting game. You could spend, even as a casual fan, probably a good like 30 hours in this game just pulling story and lore, and it actually recaps all of the previous games as well. So if this is like your first one, you can get caught up like instantly.
So who's next in the fighter renaissance? I'm going to give you 3 choices. All right, Virtua Fighter, Killer Instinct, and what was the third? Oh, Dead or Alive. Those are my 3 in my head.
I would love Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct would be fun.
Yeah.
Good
stuff.
There's rumblings on that. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, and Carl, you've been playing more Baldur's Gate 3. I've been playing more of Horizon Forbidden West, trying to get the platinum in that. Burley, you're playing Palworld, so we're going to be talking about Palworld a lot later on. So
I want
So-
that Palworld review. I want to see Burley killing his best friend.
Oh, I'll be saying there will be a Palworld review, and there
Yeah.
will also be a Palworld on Steam Deck video how that runs coming in the near future.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. I just want to say just a little bit of Baldur's Gate 3 because I had something
Yep.
different. Like I ran into a really tough boss
Mm.
that I ended up pushing him off a cliff to kill him. I was like, oh, that worked really well. And I also made a choice in a story that had one of my companions like say, "Yeah, I'm leaving you," bye, like that, so permanently. And I was like, "Oh, I don't like that at all."
Dang.
I'm gonna reload my save, I guess. So, yeah.
I see. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get into our weekly news beat. So the topic of the show is going to be big later on, but let's do our usual weekly news beat stories from this past week. So we had Dragon's Dogma, the developer, talking. So let's go ahead and I will get that running here and get that story up. So this was a lot about fast travel. So I'm talking about fast travel. So this is from over at Kotaku. So Dragon's Dogma 2, the upcoming sequel to Capcom's cult classic high fantasy RPG Dragon's Dogma, will feature various ways to move around its world. While fast travel is one of them, it's not the only means of traveling. And that's because Itsuno, the developer, believes that fast travel can be boring when relied on too heavily. Quote, just give it a try. Travel is boring? That's not true. It's only an issue because your game is boring. All you have to do is make travel fun, end quote. So Itsuno told IGN in a January 22nd interview, quote, that's why you place things in the right location for players to discover or come up with enemy appearance methods that create different experiences each time or force players into blind situations where they don't know whether it's safe or not 10 meters in front of them. We've put a lot of work into designing a game where you can stumble across someone and something will happen. So while it's fine if it does have fast travel, we decided to design the kind of map where players will make the decision for themselves to travel by bike or on foot in order to enjoy the journey, end quote. So he's not, trying to diss any other particular game, but there are some games out there like, say, Starfield that you're on a particular planet and there's really nothing to do. That's one game, I guess, that comes to mind. So in this case, talking about all the things you could do before you do any kind of fast travel. I mean, what do you guys think of his comments here? Carl, I'll start with you.
Oh, yeah, I'd say he's not necessarily wrong, right? Because you do want to make the world interesting so that people will traverse it. But you also need fast travel if you have an open world game, and even a lot of games, because like even in Baldur's Gate 3, like there are fast travel points, and if I didn't have them, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to like backtrack all the way through this world and it's multiple maps and stuff. Like, no, that would suck. So, there is points to make, but you can't say like it's just a sign of boring worlds. That's not true either. So.
Yeah, I think it varies on the game because, like, some games, like, whenever I heard that comment, the first game I thought of that has, like, in my opinion, a boring world is like, I played not the last Assassin's Creed, the one before it, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And, gameplay, it's fun, it's enjoyable, but I hate going around the map on there, collecting everything on there. It's just like most of it's not really interesting.
It's
or
just redundant.
fun.
Yeah,
It's redundant. It's not even enjoyable, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you have like cool, interesting elements that make me want to travel around, then sure, I'll do it. But if it's just like, oh, a bunch of trees here, maybe a cave here, oh, you can stack some rocks up on each other over here. It's like, oh, well, I don't want to do any of this. This isn't fun.
Yeah. I relate.
A game I really struggled finishing. I put like over 160 hours in it to finish it, and I didn't even do all of the map. I tried, but I eventually got bored and gave up. So I can see where they're coming from whenever they say that.
Burley, your thoughts on the fast travel situation?
Yeah, well, you need it. Like I've been playing the original Dragon's Dogma, the port they put to PS4, because it's
Mhm.
on the PlayStation Plus subscription on the extra tier.
Mhm.
And boy, that game needs fast travel because I am really getting tired of running in between. It is brutal not having the fast travel.
Yeah.
Like I'm like 7 hours in, and it's just like running between back and forth to these places. Like, give me the fast travel option. And then
Yeah.
their whole thing in that first game is, oh, you never know what's going to happen. It's like roll your d20 here. Oh, you may walk this time, and a griffin appears and attacks you. May not. Bandits may show up. It's like, okay, this is just boring, and I feel like I'm playing. It reminds me of Death Stranding, and not a good thing. Of like, I am just walking to the objective right now.
Is it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
me? Is it just me, or like in Jedi Survivor, I had the same feeling, just having to go all the way to one other part of the world that you're on, and then having to go all the way back instead of being able to fast travel back to your ship. You had to go all the way back, and there's
Yeah.
like
So-
no fast travel option. I mean, that was a part of the game I just did not enjoy.
I feel like they almost do that on purpose, almost to drag the length of their games out. And I feel like
Mhm.
it's almost like the same thing with a lot of, like, especially Ubisoft's really bad about this here lately, where they make this huge open world. They just don't put anything in it. But then they say, oh, there's like over 100 hours worth of content. And it's like, there's more like 30 hours worth of content and 70 hours worth of me walking around. It's like, that's not really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Well, it's like it's a collectathon, right? Like
Yeah.
there's all this list of things that you can collect, and like that's what they filled the world with, and it's
Yeah.
not particularly interesting unless someone, I don't know. There's those type of people who are like, I
See,
want to
if
check
it's-
boxes. I want to
Yeah.
get my achievements or my trophies. You know.
Like if I go from one end to the other map, like one point A to point B, okay, cool. But then if you're going to be like, okay, now that you did this, now you have to walk all the way back. And it's like, why do I have to do that? Why can't you just like before open world was a thing, how come you can't just like end the level and I just go on to the next thing? I don't want to re-experience the thing I've already re-experienced just in reverse. Like, you know, especially if your game's already long. Like at some point you're going to get kind of burnout and you're going to be like, oh, I got to do this again for the 28th time. Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, in a game like Baldur's Gate 3, also there's no random encounters, right? So like,
Okay.
if you're walking back through areas you've been in, I mean, nothing's really going to happen. I mean, you might find something you missed, right? Or you know, as you go to the next act, there might be some things that have changed, right? But like if you're still within the same act of the story, yeah, and there's not really going to be anything else going on there, so you're going to want to fast travel.
Look, you want a boring open world, and this kind of broke my heart because I'm a big Dynasty Warriors fan. When they released Dynasty Warriors 9, and they said it's an open world, like, whoa, that's going to be great. And it was really boring because, yeah, you'll find some soldiers, but there's no events. And that was extremely boring. But at the same time, I think fast travel is really important because I'm a busy guy. I don't have 10 minutes to travel the world, man. I got stuff to do. Like 10 minutes that I'm going to spend traveling, I could do a mission, I can progress the story, and then it's time for me to do something like real life. I need to go to work, I need to feed the cat or whatever. I got stuff to do. I don't have 10 minutes to travel the world. So fast travel is important in the game for the older people. Okay, I'm not saying I'm old because expat doesn't like that. I'm not old, but I don't. I'm a busy person. Like when you're younger, I remember when I was younger. Yeah, I would play games, explore everything, do those types of things. Now that I go to work, I have to go with my girlfriend. I have to spend time with my parents, with my friends. Got things to study. I'm a busy guy. I can't spend 10 minutes traveling from point A to point B and more 10 minutes from B to A again. So I think it's not a sign of a boring game. It's adapting to your market. And if it's an older market, you have to make things easier. That's why I find very weird Jedi Survivor not having a fast traveler, because let's be honest, there's a lot of Star Wars fan, but their market is a bit on the more grown up than the younger ones, and the ones that are older not having that much time. Unless you're rich. I want to be rich.
I would like to be rich too.
Yeah.
Same.
All right. So Dragon's Dogma 2 is coming out soon. So will it be game of the year? We shall see.
Depends if the world is boring or not.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
It kind of will come down to that.
All right. So next up, guys, let's talk about PlayStation. So, do you know who this guy is? Anybody?
Japanese guy.
Yeah. He's the Sony CEO. And yeah, he says PlayStation's gaming future will be on PC, mobile, and cloud. So, of course, Horizon Forbidden West is coming to PC next month. So that'll be interesting to see. And it's interesting that it's coming at a certain time again when you've got Rise of the Ronin coming out just around that same time. And then, of course, the DLC for Elden Ring is probably going to be coming out. So
yeah,
we're gonna see what happens there. But this is over from Insider Gaming. So as a leading console maker in the world, Sony is in a special spot with PlayStation 5 and its gaming business. The console sales have continued to rise since its 2020 release, and the PlayStation division has been working towards keeping its hold on the top spot in the gaming industry for the future. So what the future holds, however, is anyone's guess, including Yoshida Kenichiro. So Yoshida-san, the CEO, in an interview with Norges Bank Investment Management, the Sony CEO talked about where he sees the future of gaming for PlayStation going in both the short and near term. Quote, "It will be ubiquitous," end quote, Yoshida said. Quote, "Wherever there is computing, users will be able to play their favorite games seamlessly. While PlayStation will remain our core product, we will expand our gaming experiences to PC, mobile, and cloud," end quote. Speaking of the cloud and non-traditional gaming, Yoshida was asked about the movement towards subscription services for gaming, something that, while he sees the value in, doesn't believe it's a catch-all solution for gamers. Quote, "People usually play one game at a time," end quote, he said. Quote, "So all you can eat type of mini games may not be so valuable compared with video streaming services. So we'll have a kind of balanced or hybrid service on PlayStation Network, a subscription as well as pay per content," end quote. So guys, yeah. So as he believes everybody only plays just one game at a time, I disagree with that. I think probably most of us here do, but
yeah.
I mean, the subscription service model is a thing that's not going anywhere anytime soon. And I think this is something that Yoshida-san needs to really comprehend a little bit more. But when it comes to the PlayStation model of being on PC, mobile, and cloud, my question to you guys is how, if what he's saying is going to come to fruition, how is that going to affect the console market, especially with PlayStation and Sony for so many years? Its bread and butter has been its console.
Yeah.
So moving to PC, just like on the Xbox side, everybody argues about Xbox. You don't need to buy an Xbox. You don't need to buy the console. You just play the game on PC. Well, why buy a PlayStation in the future if you can play the game on PC? So what are you guys' thoughts? Burley, I'll start with you.
Well, I think in the terms for PC, we're going to be getting them a little bit quicker, but there's still, it's going to be that depends factor. Horizon, let's be honest, the only reason it's coming to PC is because that game did not sell what they wanted to, because they had it out they put it out at the worst time. It was a great game, don't get me wrong, I love playing it on my PS5 and all that, but it came out at the worst time, so they want to get it out there right now, get it out, try and get it out on PC, get to everyone, especially with all the Steam Decks and all the Steam Deck like devices, getting it out to people because people will buy it just to have it on the go.
Mm-hmm.
But like for games like Spider-Man 2, that ain't coming next year on to PC. That's going to be a few years. You're still going to have like the games that sell well and that are doing well on the PlayStation console. They're going to keep it on their platform for as long as they have to and feel, okay, the game has stopped selling. fine, we'll port it now. Now we'll release the PC port.
Hmm.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think it also depends on how popular the said game is, because I've seen people ask for Bloodborne to get ported over to PC, but I feel
Yeah.
like that game's old enough now that it's almost like it might happen one day, but at the same time, I wouldn't necessarily hold your breath on it. It kind of just depends if there's a high demand for it and in the future after they wait that long too.
Well, gee, that's probably not going to happen because out here in Japan, From Software is already working on a remaster of it, and they're working on Bloodborne 2 as well. So
Yeah.
maybe Bloodborne 2 will come to PC.
Yeah, I could
Even
see
the
more of that
remaster.
likely.
Well, it'll be on console first, obviously, and then like six months to a year later, it'll come to PC.
Yeah.
So probably, I don't know. Fubu, your thoughts?
My thoughts about this. Well, I don't think it's a good idea because you don't make money on the consoles. You make money on games, especially the exclusive to the consoles. Because if you go on to put your games on PC, what's the biggest problem with PC gaming? It's not the graphics, it's not the hardware. It's that, in my view, it's very easily hacked. What I mean is, you can jailbreak a game and play it a pirated copy, and then you will lose money. I remember when Arkham Origin came out, I downloaded the game and I played it like day one, but day two, I played that game on my brand new gaming laptop. But the thing is, I enjoyed the game so much that I was like, okay, I'm going to delete this and then I'm going to buy the game. But I'm going to say I'm probably one of the 10% that did that, because a lot of people can't buy new games, so they'll just play the cracked version. They'll play that game. Then when it's done, they delete it. They don't even think about buying an original copy for to support the guys that did the game. Maybe they'll buy a second-hand copy to have it if they really like the game. They'll buy a second-hand copy and they'll have it at home, but that doesn't support Creator. So I don't think going towards PC and mobile and cloud is the right thing to do. I think you should stay on your hardware, which is safe, where you control the firmware, you can control the hackers, you can control everything. And then when you are done with the console and you move to the next generation, then you can let the hackers have fun, because you won't be making money with the games, but you might make money with the hardware because people will want to buy the console to hack it, like what happened with the PSP. The PSP was a great hit because of it was easily hackable.
Carl, do people only play one game at a time?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Although I try in my life
Yeah.
to play
Yeah.
one game and then move on to the next.
Right.
But that's because I don't have that much time. But I mean, there's always going to be your games that you're going to jump between. I mean, look, he's really saying like Microsoft has the right idea, right? Like we know like this is what Xbox has been talking about and doing, right? And it's been good for them, been very good for them to make drop their games on PC day one. I mean, Sony's different situation. Will they do that? I mean, maybe one day. I think this is signaling that things are going to change and they're going to do more and more PC. Closer and closer to launch, and one day maybe there will be something. I mean, well, Helldivers 2, which is first party sort of owned, but it's not a first party owned studio, right? That's day one PC and PlayStation exclusive. You're reaching another audience, really. I mean, console is console, right? I mean, as the industry says, like that console isn't particularly growing. Sort of shifts around where people are playing on console, on the various different consoles, but it is an old type of way to play. Like I have a lot of attachment to console, right? But I don't know that younger people do as much. I mean, PC is very accessible and everywhere, right? It's kind of the same everywhere you go. PC. Mobile
and mobile and handheld gaming, and
mobile's in your pocket, right? And everybody's spending I want to say at least like $500 to like $1,000 on a mobile device, and those things are very powerful now, and you can do a lot with them. And then cloud is, cloud's a weird one. I don't know it's really going to take off, but it's an option to get into gaming easily, cheaply, and you could also get very high-end gaming out of it.
It'll be interesting, I think, especially for casual gamers, because I think I know I personally play more than one game at a time, but I think for people that are more casual that might just like to play a game here or there for a little bit here and then maybe set it down to play another game. I don't know. I think the cloud system and everything, it sounds interesting. I'm interested to see how it'll work and how it'll fold out.
I test it every once in a while on the xCloud, because I have Game Pass thing. So, and it's something like it works. I best at home, obviously, when you're on like a good internet connection.
Yeah,
and it's neat if you're like you want to play in a different room, or like I don't really need it. It's not for my life. Like when I play games, I have a dedicated space. I generally not going to play a game if I don't have the time to like go to my TV and play it, or my PC or something, right? But
yeah.
But there's other reasons for it. Yeah. I think it's funny the comment about like wherever like computing is, right? I'm like, whoa, Xbox and Switch aren't computing to you? All right.
He's oblivious to that,
right? Sony's going third party, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on and talk about this layoff situation with Microsoft and with Blizzard and all. And it's interesting that we're still in January, guys, and already more than 3/4 of last year's amount of layoffs have happened in the gaming industry this year so far. So over 6,000 people have been laid off. And in this case with Microsoft and Blizzard, over at Blizzard, we had like 1,900 staff from its video game workforce laid off. And I'm going to read Phil Spencer's, of course, comments. This was from over at IGN. His memo. I'm going to go ahead and read his memo that he came out with pertaining to this. So, quote, "It's been a little over 3 months since the Activision Blizzard and King teams joined Microsoft. As we move forward in 2024, the leadership of Microsoft Gaming and Activision Blizzard is committed to aligning on a strategy and an execution plan with a sustainable cost structure that will support the whole of our growing business. Together, we've set priorities, identified areas of overlap, and ensured that we are all aligned on the best opportunities for growth. As part of this process, we have made the painful decision to reduce the size of our gaming workforce by approximately 1,900 roles out of the 22,000 people on our team. The gaming leadership team and I are committed to navigating this process as thoughtfully as possible. The people who are directly impacted by these reductions have all played an important part in the success of Activision Blizzard, ZeniMax, and the Xbox teams, and they should be proud of everything they've accomplished here. We are grateful for all of the creativity, passion, and dedication they have brought to our games, our players, and our colleagues. We will provide our full support to those who are impacted during the transition, including severance packages or severance benefits informed by local employment laws. Those whose roles will be impacted will be notified, and we ask that you please treat your departing colleagues with the respect and compassion that is consistent with our values. Looking ahead, we'll continue to invest in areas that will grow our business and support our strategy of bringing more games to more players around the world. Although this is a difficult moment for our team, I'm as confident as ever in your ability to create and nurture the games, stories, and worlds that bring players together." Phil, end quote. And of course, Mike Ibarra, he also he's leaving, and he came out with a statement as well. But you can go and read that over on IGN. But I mean, layoffs are tough. They're always tough. They're always difficult. And we, feel for all the people that lost their positions and that, are looking for new work and all. But I mean, that's when you work for, these development companies and then you get acquired, stuff like this tends to happen, unfortunately. And
Mm.
that's one of the negative aspects of the big acquisition situation that's going on. People are going to be affected by this. I mean, a lot of people are talking about, well, you know, Bobby Kotick's gone and all that. That's a completely different situation in itself. But I mean, Microsoft has a strategy and they're moving forward with it. And like Phil said, these people are getting severance packages, and I'm sure they're probably going to be pretty damn good severance packages. So they can go and, you know, and talk about everything on X and Twitter, whatever you want to call it. But they're going to, and Microsoft has a pretty good track record of helping these people find new positions. So all the best to them and all. But Carl, I'll start with you on this one. I mean, what do you think Microsoft's strategy is here with Blizzard now?
Well, I mean, this is kind of expected. You know, it was such a large acquisition, and there's going to be a lot of overlap with some of what they do. You know, marketing side, a lot of that. You know, community side, those type of things. You know, probably like, you know, QA and customer service, and, you know, there's a lot of avenues, right? This is what this is a business, you know, looking at the thing that they bought and saying, all right, well, you know, we want to make changes here, we want to make changes there, and kind of the reason they bought it was because there was a problem, right? Like ABK didn't just up and decide, yeah, we just want to sell for no reason, right? There was problems arising in that corporation. So that's sort of, you know, where that comes from. It's heartbreaking to hear that number, right? That's a huge number, 1,900. Right? You never want to see that. But this has been happening across this industry and so many other industries. So, you know, what can you really do about it? Well, I think the answer, we can see the evidence sort of in that if you saw the CWA, that's the union, said that none of their members were affected, right, by the layoffs. Yeah. So like, there you go. That's what you got to do, is unionize.
Yep. That's big. That's big. I think this is, this is going to just make the unionization movement even stronger. And I just want to also point out in the story, they also talk about the game that was dubbed Odyssey was also canceled. So they're not going to be moving forward with that as well. So
I mean, what's the strategy there? I don't know. I mean, they supposedly that game has reportedly been in the works for about 6 years. We don't know what kind of a staff was on it for that time period, right? It could have been small and grew as it was getting closer to being something that they announced. And but, you know, you got to think Microsoft looking at it and saying, like, you know, is this going to be successful? How much money do we have to put into a service game, a live service game, right, to maintain something like that? And they just had the issue with Halo Infinite. It didn't work out that well. Yeah. And I think they are, and then I think Redfall is another factor. That's a game that they inherited, and they decided that they were going to have that go forward. And, you know, there was, you know, we heard about that game. There was probably a moment where they're like, this should probably be canceled, but they thought, well, maybe we shouldn't. We'll see if we can make it work. We don't want to come in and immediately start axing stuff, but maybe now this is a Microsoft like, nah, like, sorry. That gave them the sort of like proof they needed to say, like, no, we're coming in and we're making changes, and that's how it's going to be. We own it now. So,
well, speaking of Halo, Carl, they were talking about 343 Industries. Actually, when the next game is being developed, it's going to possibly be transferred to another studio to be worked on, and that if it doesn't work out, that will be the end of the Halo series. That's
I mean, that's not going to happen. So.
But that's the rumor that's floating around now. But just imagine, in the next Halo game, he takes his helmet off.
I mean, I hope he does.
I mean, in the video games, he's never taken his helmet off. So So Burley, I want to get your thoughts on this because you put on the Discord, you put an interesting. There's some background noise there. I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah, sorry. We have some family down, and unfortunately, I told them not to come down here. But I got a 3-year-old nephew that'll run around anywhere, just screaming. So I do apologize.
And he's wearing the Halo helmet as he's running around, right? So,
no.
Hopefully, he doesn't run into a wall, and So,
and the helmet will be handy.
Yeah,
it might be.
So what Burley posted on the Discord, which I wanted to kind of reference here and to throw up here, it was kind of interesting because Iwata-san, when he was living, and in charge of Nintendo, it was interesting. He was talking about situations like this, and he said, "quote If we reduce the number of employees for better short-term financial results, employee morale will decrease. I seriously doubt employees who fear that they may be laid off will be able to develop software titles that could impress people around the world," end quote. So, Burley, what are your thoughts on the layoffs here? And when it comes to morale, when it comes to developing games for Microsoft now, particularly with Blizzard?
Well, yeah, there's a few different things here. Like Krabby put in the chat here. Yeah, this is the way of things. But this was not handled well because the news had leaked on social media before people went to work. And I knew I have someone that knows someone that works for Blizzard and was like freaking out. People were going into work, didn't know if they were going to go in that day and be handed, here's your pink slip, you're gone. Like, so this was not handled the greatest. But yeah, on morale, it's not good because I've known people that have worked for other companies where they just kept having layoffs after layoffs. And every day you're like, am I going to just come in this morning and find out, hey, you're no longer needed. See ya. Like, this is something I really do love about Nintendo. Like, especially when Iwata was leading, like he took salary cuts and stuff like that. So they didn't lay people off. And you know what? It shows to them, okay, the company is going to stand behind me. I'm going to stand behind the company and have that good morale on this. Yeah, there's going to be morale things for morale issues for Blizzard and Activision Blizzard, but it's not just because of this. Remember, there's the whole Cosby suite and all the mismanagement and stuff that was there. So I'm sure that place is so damaged. Microsoft is going to have to take years fixing that place. Let's be honest. And I'm sure Odyssey was probably, Carl brought up the other games. Odyssey was probably not in a really good state. And it's like, is it worth putting more time and money into this to get this out? Because if we get this out and this is another Redfall, for example, we're just going to take the big L on this. So let's cancel something if we can't see any merit or anything good about this. Why put the time and effort into it when we can light up other projects that people are already asking for?
Fubu, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, actually, I always have thoughts. I'm asking just talk. No, this is actually, we're not focusing in one part of the news, okay? And I don't know why this translated to Portuguese. I can read English, but basically it says, ironically, these firings come up a little after the Microsoft stock value overcame the $3 billion for the first time in its history, only behind Apple. A business that goes this hard with this value in stock, it's not doing bad. It is not doing bad. Why fire people? Because, look, I don't want to put this on me, but I kind of understand how they feel because I work in tourism here in Madeira, which is by far the strongest economy here in the island. It's basically probably employs over 80% people in the island. And it is a strong economy. It's always making money, and the more money they make, the less people they want to have. They want to fill the pockets of the shareholders, the owners, whatever. That's what's happened here. This is just what's happening now. They got so much money and they don't want to give to the people. And okay, we're going to use this as an excuse to send people away. Okay, I do understand. Some games didn't make the money they wanted. For example, Starfield. I know it's a Bethesda, but Starfield. They were hoping for this crazy Skyrim and space money, whatever, and the game didn't pan out. So they were probably expecting, let's say, $10 million. I know it's much more, but you know what I mean. They were expecting $10 million, but they only got $1 million, and they were expecting much more money being made, and they're using that again. I think I already used this argument a few weeks ago, but it is not a success because they were hoping. It's not a bad game, but it wasn't a success because it didn't hit that objective. And since we need to give bonuses to this guy and the bonus to this guy and the money to the shareholders, whatever, what's the best way to not spend so much money? Let's just fire people. Let's just fire people. I wouldn't be surprised if some studios are closed in the next few days. I wouldn't be surprised, because that's the fastest way to lower your spending, is just to send people, because all these people next month, trust me, what you're going to pay, the wages is going to go way below, and that's going to balance the accounting. So yeah, this hits home for me, despite being in a different area. It hits home to me, and it's actually disgusting, because I'm not saying that people wouldn't be fired, because a merger, there's sometimes excess people, but this many people, no, that's just weird, man. That's just weird.
Mm-hmm.
Carl, do you have anything you want to say?
The sad thing is that the stock went up after the news came out. I mean, but that's, I guess that's just how business works. Like,
It's business.
Corporate, capitalism is saying, like, you trim the fat, and that's good for a company. That doesn't talk about the human value, of course. Man, you're gonna see it more and more. Not more and more. Just keep going. It's because it's been like that. It's been like that for years and years, and we've seen a lot now in tech. But it's these industries. Anytime you have an industry where it's growing massively, they're going to have then big layoffs at some point.
Yeah, that's why unionization is like imperative. I mean, to really focus more on unionization, because up until now, they've been talking about it. There have been some unions created, like at Activision, and all. I think Raven. I think they formed a union and all. But
I believe it was Raven Studio.
Yeah, so it's gotta be tenfold now. I mean, everybody should start unionizing to counter this.
And I feel sorry, but I feel in the next few weeks we're going to have a Microsoft news that's saying that they're going to invest in more AI technology. I feel like that's going to happen in the next few weeks, just to compensate these people leaving. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen.
I mean, they already invested heavily in AI, so I don't think that.
I mean,
they're going to go any further. Like they're already one of the major players in the AI.
I know, but
business as it is already.
Yeah.
There's no. We'll see. AI is an unknown, right? What it does.
Crabby's just saying exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to be able to replace writers. QA. I mean, if you can do QA with AI, I mean, I honestly think that's a benefit, because a lot of games come out in really poor state, and if you can do a better job using AI, I mean, that's a good thing for us as consumers. I mean, obviously not if that's your job, right?
Yeah. G, any thoughts? Go ahead, man.
I mean, I pretty much agree with what everyone's saying. It sucks that it's happened, and I think whenever I look at it, it is definitely to kind of go back to workers' morale. I can definitely see it affecting, because where I work right now is actually kind of going through some layoff stuff. So I'm kind of seeing some of this stuff firsthand, and I'm seeing how it's affected the morale where I work personally. And like to kind of give like a brief description of what I do. I do wiring for like trailers and stuff, so I do like all the electrical lights and all that kind of stuff. Our quota months ago was like 5 trailers a day, and it's reduced now to 2 trailers a day. And everybody's so upset about potential layoffs and everything. Everyone's so scared that everyone's kind of beating around the bush. They're not putting in near as much effort. They're not really trying to get the stuff done. They're just trying to keep the work going till, to make sure that there's still work there. Yeah. And I feel like doing something like this, we're just going to see less quality in the games, possibly. That's kind of my fear of it. We'll see less quality, basically. And then if AI does contribute a factor in this, I feel like because it's so new, and I feel like we don't fully understand it quite yet, I feel like we're going to see a lot more sloppy mistakes here and there. I feel like it's going to affect the industry pretty negatively, at least on their end, for a while. I mean, if they can figure out how to make it work, I'm sure that they'll try and do it the best they can, because it is going to be the cheaper option for them. It still sucks that it's costing people their jobs, but I think it's going to have a negative impact first. It'll probably be a few years before I feel like they're fully recovered from this whole situation.
Yeah. That is a great viewpoint, man. I didn't even consider that. That was a great viewpoint, man.
Carl, you were talking about like AI controlling Q&A. I mean, that's interesting because how do you program the algorithm to, to figure out the quality, quality of the game that they should, improve upon? That's going to be difficult, I think.
That's what I'm thinking, because it's still such a new thing. I feel like AI just kind of showed up out of nowhere within the recent past couple months, and now we're just already pushing it. Oh, it can do all the art for this game, or it can do the writing for this game.
Well, I mean, for what I do is, video editing. I mean, it's like everybody, it's heavily being pushed now in video editing, and especially like, when it comes to background voicing and things like that. That's something that it's a gray area right now, but
See, I've used
and YouTube
it for Photoshop as well, so I feel that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's really an unknown, right? Because this is new technology, but at the same time, it's also not all that different from other technology that we have. I mean, it is algorithms, right? It is something we created. It's a tool that we can use, a better tool than what we had before for some areas, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing you've had automated scripts and things for like Photoshop for like, decades, right? That stuff's been around. This is just another level on top of that. It's not really AI. Like, I think people are like, this is why everybody's so scared. Like, oh my God, like it's thinking, it's alive. Like it's not alive. There's no
Everybody thinks it's going to be some Terminator situation where they're
Right.
like,
don't worry. We
Humans-
haven't started Skynet protocol yet.
Humans
Not
still
yet.
have to speak to give voice commands. Humans still have to use fingers to click a button to get AI to respond.
Yeah,
so
like, it's just very advanced software, right?
Yeah.
And algorithms, and there's the machine learning aspect, but it's only learning in the way you've programmed it to learn, right? Like it's not like it does anything. It's like it's thinking on its own. Like it's just not.
We haven't got to HAL
Right.
yet, Carl.
Yeah, we're not there yet. So like, maybe that would be scary, right? We don't know, right?
Yeah. You just imagine Xbox has like a HAL like software programmed into it, and it destroys all of your games or something.
I can't let you do that, Phil.
Impact on quality, like
Phil, I can't let you do that. Yeah.
Impact on quality, like who really knows, right? From ABK, because I mean, Call of Duty hasn't exactly had the best quality games in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, people didn't really
Diablo either.
Yeah, I mean, Diablo. Well, Diablo 4 is people like it. I mean, I think it's the seasonal content that's.
They liked it, but the player that I'm someone that bought it. I dropped off pretty quick on it and have tried with the seasonal content to get back in, but it just doesn't have the staying power. And if you look at the game, like its player base, it started out high and then just has plummeted. It's like a tenth of what it used to be.
Yeah, I mean it's the Halo Infinite problem, right? Like the campaign people liked. It was different. It was fun. But then you had your service side, and people are like, the service side sucks. And now that changes your opinion of the entire product. Because I'm sure the Diablo 4 campaign from start to finish, if that was just all you ever got, then that would be it. People were like, all right, that was great, cool. And then, no one would be changing their opinion on what they think of the whole entire product. I don't know. I'm not into the service thing. I don't care.
That's why everybody should just play single player games, skip multiplayer.
Yes.
Because that's where it's all. That's what. That's where you get into the ruts and everything. Oh, it's like the game sucks because the services are crap. But
what was Crash Team Rumble? Right? Did anybody play that?
Hey, I did. I did.
Yeah.
I got the platinum on both PS4 and 5.
Platinum?
What? Yeah. Well, the platinums are easy, and I have a problem. We all know that, but the games on that, actually, the multiplayer on that was fun enough because they had the different things going on. You could play the different styles and with the different types of characters. For that, I'll at least defend crap.
That gives a good example of like maybe it was pretty good, but there's no audience for it. Right. So like, how can you justify making a game like that and continuing to spend money on a service like that over the years? Like, there's no way. You gotta say like, no, you gotta put the kibosh on all that garbage. Like, we're gonna see it with Suicide Squad. Like, it's gonna fail. Like, I don't care if it's like pretty good. Like, it's just.
You mean I shouldn't have picked it as my game of the year for the year?
Yeah.
Right. Come on, Burley.
People might not take you so seriously.
All right. Time to move on, guys. So yeah, for all those that were affected at Blizzard, we're thinking about you guys, and hopefully you find new employment soon. And we'll be keeping our eyes closely glued onto what Blizzard, is doing in the next few years to see how things work out there.
The gaming industry is booming. There are new studios popping up all over the place. There is employment, right? And in the U.S. as a whole, I don't know about other countries, but in the U.S. as a whole, jobs are increasing, right? There's more jobs every quarter, every year, like so far at this point right now. Like we're still moving up. We're increasing jobs. So despite all these layoffs, there still are more a net positive in job numbers in this country.
Yeah, that is true.
They always say that it's in hard times that the opportunities show up. So maybe these people getting laid off, they will create maybe their own studio and they can create a game of the year because they'll have their own ideas and they can implement it without someone else saying yes or no. There might be a surprise with games, like Carl was just saying, their studios showing up. So let's hope for the best for them and a great future for them. And maybe one day those guys will come here and talk to us about their games.
Yeah, well, out here in Japan, I've talked about her before. She used to be at Tango, but Nakamura Ikumi, she's got her own studio out here now. And she was in the early stages of working on Ghostwire Tokyo. And then, of course, she moved on. And she's got her own development studio out here now in Tokyo. And looking forward to seeing what she's got. So I think at the Game Awards, she actually showed up and showed the very beginnings of what she's working on. So I'm really excited to see what she's got going on. So, and Fuba, maybe we can get her on and talk about her game when it comes out.
That would be great. I really liked her. Just the effort she put, like speaking English, shows that she's dedicated. Because, like you said, a lot of Japanese people try it. But I would love, she seemed like she had really great ideas. Would love just to know about her process of making a game. That would be awesome.
Yeah, and I could speak to her in English and Japanese, of course, here. But
I would just say konnichiwa. That's just
konnichiwa. Hi, yoroshiku onegai itashimasu. Yes. Okay.
That's the fast one.
All right. It's time to move on, guys. It's time for the topic of the show. So everybody's been waiting for us to talk about Palworld. So let's go ahead and get into it. So, boy, oh boy. So we get this game that comes out, and it sells like hotcakes. What is it, like 7 million copies now?
I think it's over 8.
Over 8 million copies. And the studio supposedly has been getting death threats as well. I mean, everybody's arguing over, whether or not it is like a Pokemon clone. Of course, here on the arena, we think it's Pokemon on steroids, of course. But
Yeah.
and it's interesting. They found a developer to work on this game that likes guns. And the reason why they did that is because in Japan, obviously, you cannot have a gun. Of course, guns are illegal in Japan. Only the police force can have guns. And then, of course, the Yakuza, they have guns, but that's a whole nother story. But, I mean, so they found this one developer that was really interested in guns because they knew that guns would be cool for this game because in the West, especially in the United States, where people love guns, they would play this game. And yeah, I mean, it's just like been an overnight sensation and all. And now Game Freak, who are the developers of the Pokemon games, and it's run by Nintendo, but they're like scratching their heads now and they're like, God, this game's doing really well. Man, some of these characters, they kind of look like Pokemon characters, So we're going to try to stop this game. So now we've got reactions from Game Freak saying they're going to investigate. So the question is, where do they stand in all of this? Like, do they have a leg to stand on when it comes to copyright infringement on this game? There's been stories, excuse me, and legal experts saying that they might have a leg to stand on when it comes to like Asia, but out in the West, maybe not so much. If anything, they're not going to be able to shut the game down, but they might get the development studio to have to roll back and make some changes to some of the character models, like the 3D models of some of the character designs. But I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, does Game Freak have a case here against Palworld? And we also want to talk about the gameplay of Palworld as well. But first, let's talk about the case. Does Game Freak have a leg to stand on here? Burley, I'll let you start first on this one because you've played it a lot. And what do you think of all this? And then Fubu, I'll get to your rant that you have. Yeah.
So, because I've seen Burley, he just wants to talk. It's just like he's just thinking things to say.
I just want to say before you go on, Burley, I just want to say because I played a little bit of it last night for the first time because I wanted to play it before the episode. So it's interesting how the character that you're playing. It's interesting. It reminds me of Fortnite characters.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Pokemon meets Fortnite in a way, So and in the early stages of the game, it's a lot of grinding. It seems. I mean, you're just collecting stones, you're collecting wood, and then you're building things, and then of course you get your first, catchable. You craft your first catchable like sphere. And that's another thing that the Pokemon developers are, they stole that idea from us, but yeah, I mean, it's fun and all, it's cute, but I don't see it just myself. I don't see it so much as a Pokemon ripoff. I mean, but I don't know. Burley, go ahead, take it away. Your thoughts on the game, and then does Game Freak have a case on this?
My thoughts on the game. I'm liking it. It's not exactly a Pokemon clone. The only way it's close to a Pokemon clone in the sense of you get spheres, you're capturing creatures. That's about it. The creatures are not only like you can use them for battle, but you're using them to build up your base and help you farm stuff and mine stuff with you. It's more like a Minecraft survival kind of game. That's more what it's like. So I'm really enjoying it. And here's the thing, like why this game is selling as well as it does, because it runs. Game Freak, you can learn something from this. For Scarlet and Violet, the dips on that were so bad. Even the DLC, they're having bad dips on that, and they just don't care. I was the first time for Pokemon related, I didn't buy that DLC because it was like, no, you need to show Game Freak not giving them the money on this because they've been lazy. This has been selling well because it's like, oh my god, this is something different, new. It runs well. We got to support this over Game Freak. Like, this is an early access. It's not even done, but they have a lot of they're doing a lot of stuff, and they've taken homage from other games and stuff. It's great. But if Game Freaks can complain about the creature thing, capturing with the ball things, okay, there's the Neximon games. Those have been out for years. You didn't do nothing on that. There's Temtem. That was in early access years ago and is now coming to official release. Game Freak and Nintendo didn't want to do anything that because those haven't sold as well. This is just taking a bite out of it, and people are being like, oh my god, we don't actually need Nintendo and Game Freak. And within a day, 2 days of the game coming out, they had the Pokemon mod. Someone already made a mod and changed all the pals into famous Pokemon and all that. And Game Freak was mad because that looked good and ran better than any product they've put out in the last couple of years.
That's true.
But, they don't have to put it on the Switch. I mean, that thing's a potato.
Yeah,
that's. But they can still have the games run well on the Switch. Pokemon games like Legends Arceus runs well. It was Scarlet and Violet because they released 2 games in the same year. I still say they shouldn't have done that and give more time to Scarlet and Violet to fix and get the game running. But Game Freak wanted that holiday money because it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
On some of the designs, it's a little way too close on some of the pals that you guys may have to pay a little money out on this, but other aspects of this game, it is so different and night and day. I'm sad to hear that the developers in Japan are getting death threats. You shouldn't death threat. And PETA's been all up in arms on this.
Yeah.
And it's really stupid. I don't like PETA. PETA's a bunch of hypocrites on a lot of things they've done if you look into their history.
Yeah.
But this game is just fun, crazy. One of the things, I don't know any of you know this, is not only pals you can capture random NPC humans, throw them in pal balls, capture them, put them in your base, and have them hunt, collect berries, mine for you,
nice.
Put on gun turrets to defend your base. They went wacky with this. And
I heard you can even chop up your pals and eat them.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If you have certain pals, because they have the whole trait system, they can get the lazy trait. So if they get the lazy trait, and if you don't do things right, they're not, you know what, you can't get them out of it as easily. So they give you the option of you can cook your pals to get things because there's the whole hunger mechanic.
Yeah.
And so, this is a game that you pick your difficulty on the PC, because I bought this on PC because I wanted to support this, because I like this, is I can make my own server on a physical computer, host it, have me and my buddies all come on in, and we can play together and do stuff together, jump in and jump. And if you host your own server, one of the cool things is while you log off the game for the night, your pals that are at your base that are collecting berries and stuff, they'll still do that. So the next time you log in, we were at 10 berries last night when we logged off. Now we're at 4,000 or whatever number you want to pick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Fubu, I'm going to show that image that you threw to me here, and I'll let you go off on your little rant here about this. Yes.
I will try to control myself. Okay,
I've seen this.
I don't think they have a leg to stand, because look at this. Dragon Quest and Pokemon. Look, they're very similar. You have the Zubat and that first one, then you have the Golbat, the Caterpie, I'm just naming Pokemon that I know, but you can see the similarity between them. So if Game Freak and Nintendo says, they are copying our content. Square can go and Square Enix needs the money. They're gonna sue Pokemon because there's a lot of similarities. There's some things like if it's similar, like you don't own a feather that design of the feather. You don't own that design of the feather if it's somewhere else. Like if it's in the same position, okay. The thing with the Pokeball, you can't own the animation of throwing a ball because you've been throwing balls at stuff since I'm gonna say the Stone Age, wherever. I don't know that you've been throwing stuff since ever. So you can't own that. So it is really, really. There's no feet to stand on because uh, Game Freak is accusing and Nintendo are accusing these guys of doing something that they did the same. And again, the image. So I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Nintendo has to be very careful because if they send this to court and they lose, it's going to open a very, very bad precedent for them. So they need to be careful about that. That's why I think they haven't done anything yet because they're trying to find a legal way that they are 100% sure that they're going to win. Because again, if they lose, it's going to be a very, very big precedent. So again, concluding this part, I don't think they have a leg to stand on. About the gameplay, the other day, me, my best friend, and another friend of mine, we were just on TikTok watching Palworld clips, and we were laughing. And the game looks super, super fun. And I think one of the successes of this is not the fact that is Pokemon with guns. It is the fact that it's a good survival game. Because I already mentioned there was a trend a few years ago of good survival games with Valheim, then you had Minecraft, these types of games. And that died off a little bit. And like trends, they always come back. And these guys were heavily inspired by survival games. And again, Pokemon is not a survival game. It's a collectors or whatever, but they were heavily inspired on survival games. They adapted the pals. They adapted the constructions. Like you were saying, the characters look a lot like Fortnite characters. Is Epic going to sue them because likeness? You haven't heard any news about that. So they don't care about that. So I just think that I understand Nintendo's trying to protect their IP, but there's nothing to worry about.
It's not Nintendo necessarily. Nintendo's
Game
not
Freak.
really doing. It's Game Freak, and
Game
the funny
Freak,
thing is, they've
Yeah.
known about this game for 3 years. It's been shown off. They wrote like I brought up with my point is like Nexamon and stuff like that because it didn't take the world by storm. It sold fair numbers, but because this thing has been blasting off to mainstream success. That they're feeling that they're looking bad from how their products have been out.
Yeah, that's true.
They're wanting to retaliate, but they know they can't just say we want to sue them because if they don't have a leg to stand on, they're screwed.
Yeah, exactly. And just to conclude, there is a game that they made before called Craftopia. I don't know if you've heard about that, which
the
is
previous game,
literally.
Yeah.
It's literally a Zelda clone, and I don't mean the old Zeldas. It's Breath of the Wild Zelda, and it's literally the same thing. Like you just change the character, change the world, but no one did a hassle about that. Exactly for what Early just said. It didn't take the world by storm. That's a great argument because it took the world by storm. It's making Game Freak and Nintendo look bad, and
it's making them nervous. It's making them nervous
also,
because the next iteration of Pokemon might be affected by this game.
And you know who should be nervous as well? Because they could have done this type of game so many years ago. The people that own Digimon. Digimon could have done this easily without having this type of problem because the Digimons, when they evolve, I don't know how to say the name in English, but
Digivolve.
Digivolve, thank you. Yeah. But they Digivolve, like you have Greymon to Metal Greymon, and he literally has rockets coming out of his back and shooting. So I think it's Bandai Namco that have them, right?
Bandai Namco.
Yeah, they could have done this type of them. They are at this moment thinking, we need to do something similar with our Digimons, and they won't have that problem with Game Freak and Nintendo because Digimon is their own thing. And rant over. I won't talk anymore. Well, about other topics. I will. About this.
Thank you, Fubu. Thank you so much. G, your thoughts, because you played some of this too. We want to get some of your thoughts.
Yeah, I played a little bit of this the other night to kind of prepare myself for the podcast. I think the whole case on them supposedly wanting to sue or do whatever they're wanting to do over the designs. I had somebody point out in my stream the other day, a good point I thought is, you could say like they copy and pasted like some of these designs. There are some that are really close and similar, but they're also based on real life animals. Like whenever you look at it, like you can't just say, well, this is my design. And you're like, oh, you mean a dog? Like there's dogs everywhere. There's dogs in all kinds of games. It's just like what Burley and you all were already saying is just like there's not a whole lot that I feel like they can do really. I mean, yeah, the whole sphere thing, catching the pals, so that's what they're called, right? I feel like that's already been a thing for so long. It's just this game kind of like blew up, which I don't know necessarily how it got so popular. I don't know where it came from. Like it just kind of got really popular overnight from my perspective. But I feel like between content creators kind of pushing it, like a lot of people have just been getting into this. And I feel like even if they did try to take action, I don't think it would really make sense necessarily because I feel like this is directed towards a totally different audience than, say, the Pokemon games, for example, because this is, like Burley was saying, this is more of a survival game, I feel like even. Like whenever I was playing it, I was reminded more of Ark Survival, if you all have ever played that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It gives me Ark Survival.
Evolved.
Evolved, Rust. I get the Fortnite gameplay element too with the whole like third person perspective and everything. I feel like this is just kind of like another Pocket Monster game, which there's already tons of those. It's just this one happened to do very, very well all of a sudden, and now they're nervous because they're like, oh, hey, this is turning out a little bit better than what we planned. Let's try and take action now. And it's like, well, like you already knew about it forever. It's just they've actually made a decent game, so it's doing well.
Well, that's going back to what Burley was saying earlier. Well, your next action shouldn't be taking action against the Palworld developers. It should be making your own game better.
Yeah, make your own game better so it actually stands a chance. Because I played the last Pokemon game, which was Scarlet, right?
Scarlet,
Violet.
Yeah. And that game was just so... I didn't hate it. I just found it really disappointing. Like, it ran poorly. The gameplay... It's been getting easier and easier and easier every game that they've come out for the last several releases. I feel like there's just nothing there. I feel like they've really just gotten to the point that it's almost more a matter of we need to push out a title and we need to make it look flashier because now it's on the Switch, so now we can do more with it. But then they don't even make sure that it even really does well. It doesn't run well. The gameplay is kind of boring at this point anymore. It's very repetitive, and this is doing different things. Like it takes the whole Pocket Monster concept and it does something different with it. It's adding the survival element and everything. I feel like it's a totally different game. And I feel like part of the reason that it's kind of getting this like attention of, oh, should Game Freak do anything? I feel like it's just because it did so well. And now people are like pointing out comparisons. If it didn't do anything, then, they wouldn't worry about it. But it's a good game and it's doing well. So now they're like, oh, now we have to do something. And it really doesn't make any sense to me, honestly, because it's like a totally different game.
Yeah, well, let me just say things from the Japanese perspective. I just don't. I'm scratching my head at this because this is not going. I mean, Pokemon sales in Japan make up the majority of sales globally.
Yeah.
And the majority of people that play Pokemon games out here are kids. And kids are not going to play Palworld because I was talking to some of my junior high school students and they have never even heard of Palworld yet.
Exactly.
And
I feel like
because it's on PC, right? And so I mean, kids aren't going to care this coming November when the next Pokemon iteration comes out, whether or not Palworld is being sued,
Yeah.
or if Game Freak is worried about sales numbers, maybe in the West, the Pokemon is still going to sell like hotcakes out here.
Exactly.
Because the kids don't even know anything about Palworld yet.
And it's like, I think it's totally different audiences as well, just kind of
Yes.
like what you said. Pokemon, I feel like, is more not necessarily exclusive to, but it's targeted more towards younger audiences. Palworld isn't targeted towards younger audiences. They even, like you said earlier, they had that one post I seen. They added guns simply because they knew people over in the West were going to like guns. They
Exactly.
the quote, I think, was like, Americans like shooting at stuff or something.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
was like, okay, so if you have that mindset, then yeah, there's no way that this is like Pokemon. These are totally different games, in my opinion. I feel like if they take action, it just would be pointless because there's other games that they could have taken action towards before that were actually more like Pokemon that could have been considered like their
Right.
competition. But they've also been around forever. So even taking action against this, it's like, why would you? It would be a waste of money. It's not going to do anything.
It's almost like the pride thing because
Yeah.
they've been around forever, and it's like they have so much pride that they take in having the number one sales record when it comes to Pokemon games, and now this other game is coming up and it could surpass them, and they just it's hurting their pride in a sense. Carl, go ahead, man. Your thoughts.
Well, yeah. So is it a matter of protecting the IP image of their IP, right? Because we talk about this game as Pokemon with guns, right? Pokemon on steroids makes a lot of sense, more than a Pokemon clone, because it is not really a Pokemon game in the traditional sense of like, it's not a turn-based RPG, right? It's not. So I don't think there's an argument about like, oh, they just copied the game and it's like exactly the same type of game, because we've seen those clones and those are inspired by Pokemon. And I feel a lot of those games are like someone loved Pokemon and they wanted to do their own version of that, right? And they're paying homage to it and they're trying not to do it exactly the same way. Right?
Well, it's like with other genres too. I mean, like in like the Souls games. It's like Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne is like Dark Souls.
P, right?
Neo is like it. Sekiro is like it. Yeah. I mean, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Liza P is definitely made by people who like those type of games, right?
Yeah.
They want to make something similar. But this game, I don't know. I think this is a bit of a difference because when you look at Digimon, right? Digimon is very visually distinct from Pokemon. You can easily tell the difference right away. You look at like that cassette-based game that came out too long ago. Like, it's Pokemon, right? It's definitely a Pokemon clone, but they took a lot of their own. They took the inspiration and made their own thing. They had their own like unique style to it, right? It's music-based, right? Yeah. You catch them in cassettes, right? And there's a lot of other elements on top of it, and they add other gameplay elements to it. Legally speaking, what I want to know is, how close can you make characters look, right, to characters in the game, without that being copyright infringement, right? Because like if I make a game that like looks exactly like Mario pretty much, and he's got a gun, he's going around shooting everybody, like, am I allowed to do that? Like,
and he doesn't have a mustache.
Yeah, like right, like there's one slight difference, right? And that's what we're talking about here, style, right?
Yeah.
You put the pals up against the Pokemon, they are almost indistinguishable, probably indistinguishable to the average person, right? You mix them all up together, the average person is not picking out which one is a different style, right? But if you threw, Pokemon and Digimon together on the same sheet and mixed them all up, I mean, generally speaking, a lot of people are gonna be like, that's a Digimon, that's a Digimon, that's a Pokemon. Like, there's a visual style to it, a visual language. It's very different. Here, I don't see that. I see similar eyes. I see similar mouths. I see similar color palettes across similar creatures. I see creatures who look almost the same, but we took a little bit of this Pokemon's features and this Pokemon's features, and we kind of switched them up a little bit and put that feature, that frill here, right? And that mane there. And like, I don't see a lot of originality here. I see we just mixed and maxed and mashed up Pokemon, and maybe we palette swapped a few of them, but other ones we kept the palette and we changed some features, like I just said. So I think they could have an argument, and I think they should investigate it. And I don't think it has anything to do with this particular like a fear, right? Or they're intimidated or they're worried, right? Because Pokemon's always going to sell. Pokemon sells better than this game, right? I mean, 8 million copies is nothing compared to like the average Pokemon game, right? Burley, you can attest to that.
The last one, Scarlet and Violet, had already this point sold 10 million.
Okay, so
but I think they're like, yeah, like whether or not this will reach the same numbers will be interesting to see. But I think I do agree with you on the protecting their brand.
Yeah. So can they make the argument that a lot of this game's success is coming off the fact that it's Pokemon with guns, right? And can they then say like that hurts us in a way that like we don't want Pokemon having guns, right? That's our IP. Yeah. We don't want that visual out there, right? And the popularity has a lot to do with it in that like a lot of people are going to see it, right? So they're not going to go after something that nobody sees because I mean that's like punching down, right? You're going to go after Craftopia, a game that nobody cared about, nobody saw, nobody played, like that's mean. That's like mean-spirited. But if they're like making tons of money off of something that you could possibly argue is more successful and probably undoubtedly more successful because of how close it is to Pokemon, right? I think you could have a case. Can they win that? I don't know how, but look, you got to do diligence. It's a business, right? You can't just not do anything.
Well, like what some of the legal experts are saying, it could be a regional type of situation when it comes to the West versus like in Japan. So, I mean, like you're saying about the company worried about its brand and the fact that they don't want to see Pokemon with guns, that might be something that would have to be changed for Palworld moving forward, being released in Japan. Whereas in the West, they might not win that.
Yeah. Which I'm kind of curious to see because media moves so fast nowadays anyway. I feel like it's popular right now, but I'm curious to see if it'll be just as popular in say like 2 or 3 months.
Or at the end of the year,
it could burn out quick. We don't know.
Like, you guys make me talk. They released they already released their plans for the future. Yeah, the program. Thank you. That's the right word. They already released their program with the updates they are planning to do this year, if I'm not mistaken. And there's a lot of great things. They want to add islands. They want to add new pals. They want to add other stuff that I'm can't remember right now. So they are structured. This is not, for example, I was going to say Fortnite, but I think Fortnite was fun. But for example, Apex Legend. They released Apex Legend, which you probably know, a first-person shooter, online, whatever, Battle Royale. And I don't think it's EA. Yeah, it's an EA game. They weren't prepared for the success that Apex Legends was. Like it was a media hit. They were even saying that was the Fortnite killer at the time. And I played that game a lot, so I can assure you that the game was such a hit that you noticed that the developers weren't prepared because it took a long time to start developing things. Like even to come up with the plan, it took a long time for a plan for Apex Legends to come out. These guys, the game is out not even a week, and they already have plans, and they don't feel, and it feels like, oh, we have to say something. No, it feels like it's structured. They were expecting maybe not this level of success, but they were already expecting some success. Maybe some problems regarding the likeness, but they were already expecting such a success. Maybe not as much. They feel like they're planned, and I think their popularity with the updates will continue.
Yeah, well, it's still in beta too.
It's an early access game, and if you release an early access game and you don't have a roadmap, I mean, I'm sorry, you don't deserve success then. Like that, because the point.
Tell that to Star Citizen.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Because the whole point is that like the promise of an early access game is that you're getting it early, you get to give feedback, you're getting it at a lower price. and then eventually the 1.0 release will come with all the full features of whatever the game's supposed to be, and you should have that idea in mind. You should have that sort of planned, right? Obviously, that can change as people play your game, and maybe something you didn't realize grows in your game, right? But you should know what's coming in some respect of an early access game.
Yeah.
Well,
I just want to.
And Apex wasn't early access, right? Apex was just a shadow drop. They just boom,
Yeah.
no, not ever.
Shadow
Yeah,
drop.
yeah.
Like, here it is.
Yeah.
They were trying to do some
Respawn,
money
yeah.
laundering.
They
Yeah, I
just
think they were
shadow
trying to
dropped
do some money laundering and just dropped
Yeah.
the game. And I remember I took like 3 weeks. I remember because I was so tired of FIFA at the time, and I wasn't playing Fortnite because I don't like
He's
the
lying.
construction.
He's lying.
What I do on Fortnite is what I did with Strangers of Paradise. I just call up my buddy and I say, "Hey, let's get some wins," and he goes, "Yeah, let's get some wins." Okay, I'm gonna distract them, and you go around and kill them, and you build everything. It just carries me on Fortnite.
Okay, I just want to add one last thing about the similarities Palworld with, say, Zelda, because when I was playing it last night, and Burley probably recognize this. When you get to a fast travel point, in Zelda, when you get to a point there, it's pretty much very similar. I mean, the music is almost like it's like this is Zelda, So maybe
that's what Craftopia was. Craftopia was Breath of the Wild, but a survival game. I mean, it was blatantly
so
obvious.
Similar.
And that noise is very similar. The one that is the hot and cold meter in Palworld is ripped out of Breath of the Wild. You cannot tell me it is not. And like Krabby put in here, he sees a better version of similar art style for the PAL design. So do I. Like some of them, like the Lucario one, that's the Lucario version of PAL. It's just him they put a poncho on him. That's like,
and bigger hands. He has bigger hands.
Yeah.
They just made slight changes here and there.
Some of them are really like a very slight changes, and then there are some that are like, okay, this is actually very, very different. And if they have to argue every individual one, this one here, Game Freak would take an L. There are some that like are so different, and like Sad Boy had mentioned, some are like it's a dog. Okay, you can't change the dog so much. Like you can change the dog, but it's a common dog. Yeah. What do you want them to do?
Yes, but okay, Snoopy's a dog, right? But you can't just copy Snoopy, like just because he's a dog and dogs exist. Right? You can't have any. You can't just make it exact same thing and like, oh, he's just a different color. It's fine,
And also, if the world goes to shit, nuclear winter, asteroid, or whatever, we're gonna be killing dogs to eat. So that's not confusing.
Jeez, I don't think we had to go that far.
Well, it's already happened in human history, guys. It's not anything new. So
see,
Burley, I was gonna say about getting cold. When I was playing the game last night, I was using the torch to keep myself warm. It's like just use the torch. It's
the coolest things I heard about this game is that the pals, like you can use like fire-based pals to do like heat things, right? Like in your your base, right, or something like that, right? Yeah, and then there was like the water and ice ones can do something specific related to water, right? But see, look, there's the problem right there, Krabby. You can use your fire Pokemon to keep warm, and then he says fire pal. Sorry, I mean that's the thing. Everyone's calling them Pokemon. Like it's a problem, I think, for Nintendo. There's why or Pokemon Company, right?
Look.
I think it could be a problem for their image, and they should be looking into
to Game Freak.
Yeah, like how close can you get to it without being, copyright infringement? We'll see.
Look,
we'll see what happens.
I think it would be a bigger problem if it was Mon World, and instead of pals we call them Mons. I think that would be a much bigger problem. Being a pal world, I think. Look, again, I just want to say just this last thing before I quit this the subject. I think we should stream like arena production stream of us all playing this game together. I think that would be great.
That would be cool.
So I'm gonna have to carry you three? No thanks.
Yeah. Carry all of us.
Because I know Carl's gonna be like, no, you can go out in the dangerous thing, do all the capturing here. I'll make sure they're getting our wooden berries.
I'll be back at
Yeah,
camp
yeah.
whipping my pals.
All right.
But
Chopping up
I
the
will-
lazy
I will-
ones.
Yeah. So
Jesus.
when the next game comes around, that's called Buddy World. We'll see. What happens with that as well. So,
Yeah.
I'm
right.
very curious to see the
Mhm.
the staying power of this because it's
That's what
doing
I'm
well
curious
right now.
Yeah.
Their roadmap is very good roadmap. I'm hoping we get these. I understand they're not the biggest studio, so we're going to be lenient on how fast we get these, but the money is rolling in. Plus, they got the Game Pass deal, so they got money coming in from Microsoft. So I'm hopefully they
Yeah.
can hire some more people in.
So it's exclusive. It doesn't come to PlayStation.
Well, it's PlayStation, as Carl put in the Discord.
Yeah.
PlayStation doesn't really do early access. I think this game will come to PlayStation. Hell no, it ain't coming to the Switch. Nintendo is going to fight. Game Freak's
I don't have doubt in my mind. It's probably going to be on PlayStation, day one for the 1.0 release. I don't see why they wouldn't do that. And honestly, I think they'll try to put it on Switch. And I think can Nintendo really stop them? And that's going to depend on probably legal action, right? Because how can they, if they have no legal case, then what are they blocking the game on their platform for?
Right. To keep
One
Game Freak
thing-
happy.
Well,
One thing that will destroy this game, and I hope they don't fall into that hole, is I don't want them to implement microtransactions in this game, like to speed up some type of building or gathering or whatever. They need to not be greedy and implement a microtransaction system, because one of the things that people are enjoying it's because it's a game. It's not forcing you to buy, and
Alright.
and online multiplayer, they're not forcing you to buy stuff.
Okay, Fubu, Burley, check this down. Spiritual Opium. Case of Spiritual Opium, Fubu, that in the 1.0 release, there will be microtransactions.
yeah, I would
Some
that-
type of
this-
microtransactions will be implemented, and probably.
Probably.
I hope
skins
you're
or
wrong
something.
on this one.
Yeah, but
I mean, what
I
kind of
think he's right.
microtransactions?
We
do
just got
survival
done
games
talking-
Typically get. I
Yeah.
haven't really played any of them enough to that point.
There's some you can get the basic survival kit or extended survival kit where you get extra supplies when you start.
Okay, well
And
they'll do
stuff
that
like-
then, right? They'll do that.
I'm hoping they don't go that route, but yeah, the problem
That's
is
kind of become a
that-
norm nowadays, honestly.
Yeah,
it's a norm, and companies like making money, and when you can spend a half hour and make free money, yeah, they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
They're gonna make costumes for the pals. I can see it.
Yeah.
I could see it being a possibility. Yeah.
Yeah.
like a Detective Pikachu hat or something, right? Is that what he had?
God,
sorry. Whatever you call the electric guy.
Hey, give that to Anubis, which is a Lucario lookalike. Give him a Tekken 8 suit, a Jim Kazama pants, and the hairstyle.
I'd buy it.
You got.
All right, guys. All right. So that was our topic of the show, talking about Palworld. Does Game Freak have a case against Palworld? And all? Let us know in the comments what you think about all this, and your game experiences with Palworld. Does Game Freak have a case against them? Let us know. We'd really like to hear from you in the comments. So. All right. Next up, it's time for our picks of the week for the week of January 29th through February 4th. God, guys, it's almost February now. Yeah. So
This month doesn't end.
www.releases.com. You can go and check out all of the new game releases for this coming week and into February and beyond. So, Fubu, you are first.
I'm first.
Yes, you are first. Because of the alphabetical order of the game. So, what is your pick of the week?
Oh yeah, my pick of the week is Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Set in the vast sky realm, Grand Blue Fantasy unfolds in a world dotted with islands floating amidst the blue skies. Assume the role of the skyfaring captain, accompanied by the spirit dragon, Vreen, and the enigmatic girl Lyria, with a diverse crew comprising both royalty and rogues. You set towards Ista Lucia, an island steeped in legend and nestled at the edge of the horizon. Within the Zega Grande Sky Dome, formidable primal beasts stand guard over islands, while whispers of the clandestine Church of Avia drift with the winds. As you journey, unravel a complex narrative that extends well beyond Zega's boundaries, leading to a pivotal clash determining the destiny of the entire Sky Realm. First of all, those words are difficult to say. Second of all, it is look. This is an old school RPG with modern classics. It's going to be a little bit more actiony, which again I prefer a tactical RPG. But the animation looks great. They are promising over 100 hours of gameplay. And now I'm considering, does it have fast travel or not? Because if it doesn't have fast travel, I know it's going to be 70% walking or flying in this case. But yeah, and I'm a big RPG fan. I love the animation. The story looks interesting. And the fact that you fly around islands reminds me of a Dreamcast game called Skies of Arcadia. I don't know. I think that's the name of it.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me that, gives me that feeling. So I'm interested. I'm just interested in the story. This game has been in develop hell because it's been a long time to develop. And was Miyamoto that said that a delayed game always comes out good. I think it was I'm misquoting the guy, but you know what I mean. But it took a long time, so I hope it stayed in the oven long enough. So it is a great game, maybe a contender to Game of the Year. I hope, or at least RPG of the Year.
Fubu, can you let our viewers and listeners know what day it comes out and on what platform?
Yes, exactly. It's gonna come out on February 1st, PC, PS4, and PS5. As Carl's gonna have to wait.
Yeah,
I had no plans. I'm not very much a fan of action JRPGs. And this developer is what I don't know. I look at their history and like mostly mobile games. They have a few things they've published console and made, but I don't know if they're going to be able to put together a great game.
Okay,
it's promising.
Speaking, this is just from my personal experience, and Carl, yours as well with a later iteration of this game. But speaking of a great game and a company that does make great games, what is my G's and your pick of the week?
Yeah, pedigree. So much of it with this studio. Persona 3 Reload coming out on February 2nd to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X. Sorry, Switch. But I would not be surprised if it launches on Switch 2.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that is going to be, whatever they call it.
And the 8-inch LCD screen, yes.
Yeah, right. Step into the life of a transfer student caught in the whirlwind of the enigmatic hour, nestled between one day and the next. Unlock an unparalleled power, navigate the riddles of the dark hour, stand by our comrades, and etch enduring impressions in their hearts. Persona 3 Reload is a mesmerizing reinterpretation of the iconic RPG, modernized for today's audience. Immerse yourself in a pivotal installment of the Persona series, artfully revamped with elite visuals, refined gameplay mechanics, and a sleek modern UI. Delve into a profound storyline enhanced with added scenes, enriched character interactions, and additional voiceovers. Shape each day by selecting from a range of activities, be it roaming the vastness of Port Island or forging stronger bonds with beloved characters. Thoughtfully gather and guide your ultimate team to challenge the mysterious shadows and edge closer to the concealed truth. Man, I cannot wait for this game. This is my
Me
most
too.
anticipated game of the entire year as it is right now.
Yeah. It's so good. Yeah. I mean, I played this game so long ago, and I forgot a lot about the story. I can't wait to play it again. I mean, yeah. So psyched for this.
Yeah. As I said, I started with Persona 5 Royal, and then I went back to 4.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go back to 3, but 3 Portable is, from what I gather, from everything I read and a little bit I tried and what I've watched of the different versions, I don't think it's a great version of the game. I don't think it's a way you should play the game. And this coming so close, this was rumored. I tried Persona 3 Portable a little bit. I'm like, let me just wait. Then this got announced. I was like, forget it. I'm just going to wait. I'm not going to play that. This is going to be the definitive way to play this game. I guarantee you.
Yeah. I personally did actually play the portable version this last year just because it was like right before they announced it. They released the portable version on PlayStation. So I ended up playing it, started, and got like 50 hours in, and then they announced this, and I was like, oh, well, I'm already halfway through, so I got to finish it now. But I'm definitely getting this anyway to just experience it again. It's honestly like the story is so good in this game that even replaying it, knowing what's going to happen, it's still going to be an amazing experience. This is probably one of my most anticipated games of the year.
Oh, yeah.
You can release this game on the Switch quite easily. You just have to go the PlayStation, the PSP route. Basically, you do everything point and click, and then you do the dungeon with the graphics, the updated graphics. You could do that.
That's kind of what the portable version of the game is, actually. You mostly just walk around, like you don't really walk around and talk to the other companions. You just kind of point and click everywhere. It wasn't the best as far as gameplay wise, but I feel like for me personally speaking, I play these games more so for the story and the character development more than the gameplay. So I didn't mind it. I still thought it was a good game. This is just going to be that game, but better.
Well, I like that one thing with the portable because it cuts down on some of the stuff of just clicking to when you're in the school and stuff, so you can just move and get going, because that's I like what little I've played of these Persona games, but
they're very long.
They are too damn long for their own damn good.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, if you clear a palace early in 5, I would clear it on the 2nd or 3rd day in the month that you can do it.
Yeah.
I now again just pressing the X button to skip, and like I said, I would love an option skip to the change of heart in 5. I would love for that, just to. Like, I get it, you're supposed to max out your social links, but I've either got my social links to where I'm happy with, or I will wait because I still got 8 other months in the whole game to beat and do.
Yeah.
But you will run out of time to do all the things you want to do.
Yeah.
But I do think there should be maybe an option, for people who don't want to spend as much time. Like, I don't know.
I want the story to just flow and go.
Yeah, like maybe like an easy mode or something where it automatically, like if you pass the time, it automatically sort of raises a few things, right? Gives you maybe some money for jobs, give you maybe some new gear, and raises some social links so that you don't have to do it. But that shouldn't be like the normal mode in any way, I'd say.
Yeah.
I had that problem with Persona 5 because I played Persona 5 when a few years ago when I had COVID, and I literally got burned out with that game, and I haven't finished yet, and I don't feel like going back to the game because, again, I was enjoying it at the start, but then it started to get not messy, but it was and not boring, but it was feeling more like a chore than
repetitive.
Yeah, but yes, repetitive. That's a perfect word. Yeah, repetitive. And I was like, nah, I'm just gonna play something else, and I haven't finished, and I don't feel the need to go back to that game. Like I already seen enough things. I know the story, so I don't feel like going back to the game. And having an option to skip to the next point of the story would be a great element to add to the next Persona games. Because again, I don't have enough time to play all those games like with 100 hours. I got stuff to do.
Yeah,
I was just gonna I was just going to say at the beginning of the clip I showed there, when you see the logo for Atlas and you see kind of the grayish, you see the mansion buildings there. That's like, the condominium buildings there in Tokyo. One of those reminds me of my condominium here that I live in. So yeah, it looks kind of similar to it. Yeah. But,
yeah. And just another thing about Persona. It's coming out on Game Pass, which is a great deal.
Yes.
But I have the feeling that Atlas has a good relationship with Sony, because the first ones that came out were on the PlayStation. I remember playing on the PlayStation Persona 1 with those very old graphics. And I'm thinking maybe since it's coming out on Game Pass, I have a feeling that it might come out. I'm not gonna say at the start of February, but maybe on the extra tiers. I'm hoping at least that it comes out because of the good relationships between Atlas and Sony.
That ain't
Fubu
happening
question.
for 3 years.
Fubu question: who owns Atlas?
Ooh, I have no idea.
Sega.
No idea. Sega.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
who in the recent past has a really good relationship with Sega? Microsoft.
Microsoft, yeah.
And that's why it's on Game Pass day one. And I don't know if the relationship with Sega is that great with PlayStation. I don't know. And they're pretty much still quite rivals out here in Japan. But I know it's coming to PlayStation, so.
Yeah.
So,
well, let's see.
An argument I made before about in a different case was that trying to do that for PlayStation is more expensive, right, for them to get this game, because it's going to be more copies of the game, right, that they're not going to be able to sell than it would be on Xbox. Like,
right.
That sucks for Xbox. They can't sell as many copies, but then it's a little bit of a benefit for Game Pass in that they can get the better deals on a game like this.
Yeah. Okay, so Burley, you're up next. What game do you have for us?
Mine is Project Downfall. Project Downfall delivers a riveting pixel art shooter experience within a cyberpunk universe that diverges starkly from our own reality. Players step in the shoes of protagonists, bearing a striking resemblance to John Wick. So don't give him a pencil. Navigating intense gunfights that demand quick reflexes and strategic prowess. As the European Union's influence wanes, global dynamic shift. So this
you know what? I got to say, bro, this looks like Hotline Miami in like first person.
Exactly.
Oh, look, it's John Wick.
That is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. And this comes to Switch, Xbox One, and Xbox Series, and Steam to on February 2nd. Yeah. Not PlayStation, sadly, but
I didn't want to play it anyway.
This just like the art style was what attracted me. I was like, oh my god, this looks like Miami, but of course, you got to throw in the whole John Wick thing, and it's like, okay, this just looks crazy.
No, it's Cyberpunk. It's Johnny Silverhand. Never mind.
Yeah.
This looks really good. I actually would be curious to try this. I like fast-paced games like this, like Hotline Miami. I feel like that's one of my, as far as indie games go, that's one of my favorite indie games to replay. So I would be curious, be down to check this out.
Yeah, it looks very interesting game. I wasn't expecting that type of animation, but yeah, it looks like a mix. It's Hotline Miami with Cyberpunk, probably because you play in third person. But yeah, the design kind of remind me of that as well. So very good pick. That's why you always trust Burley to get those unknown games to the masses.
Heck yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. So you can go to releases.com. That's www.releases.com for all you audio listeners. So you can check it out and see all the games coming out for the week of January 29th through February 4th and beyond. So yeah, good stuff. So releases.com. All right, now it's time for some programming notes. So obviously here on the Arena Productions, we are not only just a video game and game development news station, we are also an entertainment and pop culture related station. And so this last week, I did our season 3 first reactions to Star Wars The Bad Batch, season 3, the final season, which is coming out in February. I think it starts on the 21st. So there will be 15 episodes on Disney Plus, and the first day they're dropping 3 episodes. So yeah, looking forward to the final season of The Bad Batch. So hopefully we will get that conclusion as to Palpatine's, reasoning for continuing with cloning. So we shall see. And the situation with how the clones were just swept aside for regular conscripts. So yeah, I'm really interested in that. Excited to see that. So good stuff. And then of course on the game, back to the gaming side, Burley, he did his Rogue review of RoboCop Rogue City. So you can go and check that out. So yeah, Burley does his game review for our Extra Take. So Extra Take is a supplemental series to the Arena Gaming News podcast. So please go and check that out. So yeah, that was fun to do, Burley? Yeah. Good stuff.
Oh, yes. And as Sad Boy knows, because he's seen it, a little tip for the game: shoot the enemies in their private parts for critical hits.
That would be my weakness, to be fair. So.
It gets you an achievement or / trophy in the game. So there you go.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the review. I loved it. It was a great review. Really well explained. Very good. It was a great job.
Yeah. And my Bad Batch one was great too. Fubu.
I loved it, man. I really liked it. I really like. I haven't I know good stuff about that. I know good, but RoboCop is much closer to my heart than Star Wars. I'll be honest, because I remember growing up, I saw the Star Wars movies, but I remember being bad watching the RoboCop movies and then fall asleep, and then I would wake up in my bed because my dad would take me to bed. That's why it's much closer to my heart, RoboCop.
Have you seen any of the Bad Batch, Fubu?
I know I haven't seen it straight like they have, but I've seen episodes here and there. Sometimes I see one, and then in 2 weeks I'll see another. But I know there's good stuff because I have a friend. She's super crazy about Star Wars. She's really nerdy when it comes to Star Wars, and she's seen it, and she doesn't shut up about it. She loves it. So I feel like when I see episodes separated, I know what's going on because she already talked too much about that thing. Yeah. So here on the, I know it's good.
So here on the Arena Productions, coming up in February, when it comes to the entertainment and pop culture related side, we've got the Bad Batch coming out, and then we have Halo Season 2 starting. So we'll be doing review episodes on each and every episode of Halo Season 2 as well. So, and probably Madam Web also comes out in February. I think so. Maybe we'll do.
I'm not available for that one.
Dude, I want
the trailer.
I want to go see it. Not that I think it's going to be good, just because I gotta know. I just gotta know.
Yeah.
And if I go see it, it's because of that blonde girl. She'll.
Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah.
I don't know the name. She's just beautiful, man. I don't care about the name.
You shouldn't be saying that. Your girlfriend's probably listening, Fubu. So be careful.
No. My girlfriend knows I only have eyes for her. Okay. So I'm gonna go watch the movie.
Good response. All right. All right. So now it's time to.
She's working.
Now it's time to talk about the games that we will be playing. Carl and G and myself. Yeah. We're going to be playing Persona. Yeah. That's a given. I think Persona 3 Reload. G, are you still going to be playing any of Tekken 8?
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with Tekken for the year. I'm going to try and get good at it. That's my goal. I'm not going to be professional, but I want to be at least good at it where I can hold my own against people. Mm-hmm. So I'll be on it quite a bit.
Cool. Burley, how about you? What are you going to be playing this next week?
Well, if all's good after my stream on Sunday, be finally starting up Prince of Persia. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to start that up, and be playing more of Palworld. Those are my main 2 games going to be for the next little bit.
Nice. Fubu, how about you?
I didn't mention this at the start of the podcast, but I was 15 hours into Secret of Mana, and I realized I screwed up the trophy, and I want to plat the game, so I had to go back to the start. The good thing is I know the roads, I know where I have to go, so it's going to shave a few hours out of it. But yeah, I'm going to be playing Secret of Mana at least during the weekend to get the plat. I'll continue when I'm out of the house, when I have to do stuff with my dad for his treatment. I'm gonna take my Switch and I'm gonna keep playing Golden Sun. It's beautiful, and there's a very interesting element that we didn't tell Carl last week. I mean, we forgot to tell. First, there's one weird thing, which is there's one weird thing because is you tell your team to attack this enemy, and if the first one kills the enemy, the other two go automatically on defense. That's a weird mechanic. I didn't remember about that. And you remember we talked about the Jins last week, which is like summons. The thing is, for to advance certain puzzles, like you can't give one team member only fire. You have to mix Jins like fire and earth. Oh, sorry, water and earth to do a different type of magic to help you on the dungeon, to give you a certain ability to help solve the dungeon. You have to mix and match the Jins. I don't know. You remember that, Burley?
It's cool.
Yeah, well, you don't. There's only like one or two times for the optional dungeons and for optional secrets. You have to swap the Venus and Mars Jin to get the growth synergy so you can grow the vines and grow up. But like you can keep all the same Jin on people as long as you have. If the numbers are balanced, you can't give one guy 6 Jin and the other people each have 1. They do a balancing mechanic of it.
Yeah. Right. No, but there's the thing is because you have to come also when you're fighting, you have to combine different type of element Jins to give different types of magic, sometimes more powerful magic. That's a very I didn't remember that mechanic when I started playing. Oh yeah, that's true. You can do that, and that's something I don't want to say unique because I haven't played all the games, but that's something that you don't find a lot in a lot of games.
Nowhere.
All right. And Carl, you're playing. Yeah, go ahead,
man.
Man.
Very excited because I do not work on Friday when Persona comes out.
Yeah.
And also my daughter is in daycare that day, so I will be available to spend a good amount of time on it right away.
There you go. Nice. So you'll have a lot to talk about next week, for the
so an extra take soon from Carl on Persona.
Dude, you know how long it's gonna take me to actually finish that game? My God.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
Persona,
like hundreds.
I can't remember exactly, but like I had 125 hours in it, and that must have taken me like 3 months or so to actually do.
Carl's gonna play for the full day, and at the end of the day, he's gonna be finishing the prologue. This is what's gonna knowing you a Persona game.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. So anyway, if you liked this episode and you like the topics and all the things that we talked about in this episode, please be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell over here on YouTube for when we drop a new episode of the Arena Gaming News podcast. So you'll be notified beforehand, as well as all of our other content here on the Arena Productions. So like we said, we're going to be doing, of course, in our entertainment and pop culture related side, we're going to be doing, of course, Halo 2 Season 2 coming up, as well as the Bad Batch on the Star Wars side of things. So, and of course, next week, we're going to be talking a lot about Persona 3 Reload on the next episode of the podcast as it releases. So really excited for that. So I want to thank all of you that come out. Whether it's in video on demand later on, or all of you that joined us during the episode. Krabby, thank you so much for coming in, and everybody else in the chat. Burley, do you want to go ahead and give a shout out to those that were in the chat today?
Yeah. So thank you. As you already mentioned, Krabby. We also have Moonfern watching on Twitch.
Thank you so much. Mm-hmm.
And on YouTube, we had Mario. And also as well, Leah, and I believe that is everyone.
Okay, yeah. So thank you so much, as always. And we look forward to bringing you another episode next week. And G, thank you so much for coming in. So yeah, probably a little bit of a surprise, a different format than the way we did it last time. Yeah.
A little bit. It was a pleasure, though. I had a good time.
Yeah. We want to have you again at some point. So thank you so much. And of course, G is one of our community members over on Discord. You can join our Discord at the Arena Productions and come and chat with us about video games, entertainment, and pop culture related topics over there. All right. So now it's time for our indie recording artist spotlight. So every week we do an indie recording artist and their music to end the show. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So this week's spotlight is on Katrina Stone. Katrina Stone has been lauded on an international scale through scoring brand endorsements, performing on national stages like the Warped Tour, and even earning critical praises for her songwriting that can be heard in advertisements around the world, from the title song of her album called Best of Luck. So this has been the Arena Multi-Platform Gaming News Podcast, episode 161. I've been your host, X-Pad, along with my co-hosts, Burleman Gaming, Turn-Based Carl, Fubu87, and our guest and community member, G. We hope to catch you in the next one. So take care, everyone, and enjoy the outro, and have a great week of gaming. Peace out.